Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Max Rebo Music Theory course, for which Max Rebo has little to no actual involvement. In a previous lesson on the natural minor scale, we discussed how we can take a major scale and lower the 3rd, 6th, and 7th scale degrees in order to spell a minor scale. We can also think of a natural minor scale as the series of intervals whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. If you haven't seen that video yet or just want a review, I'm going to put a link in the top right corner and in the description down below, since everything we talk about today will make a lot more sense if you understand that material first.
A great leap forward often requires first taking 2 steps back.
So now that we understand the natural minor scale and how it can create a key signature that's the same as its relative major, we want to see what happens when we actually start writing music in a minor key. Because it's actually not as simple as just using the key signature. In fact, if you look at a piece of music in minor, odds are that it doesn't use the natural minor scale.
Never tell me the odds.
Fine. Let's look at Duel of the Fates though to see what happens. I'm going to play this in E minor, which means that my tonal center or first scale degree is E, and my key signature would have 1 sharp, which is F sharp. As we listen to the melody though, we notice that something seems off. That's because if I just stick to the notes of the key signature, I'm using the natural minor scale that we've learned before. And as we learned before, natural minor does not have a raised 7th scale degree or leading tone. This means that when we hear the 7th scale degree, we lose that sensation of wanting to resolve up to the tonic that creates so much of that wonderful tension and energy that we have in music. Here's another example where I'll use a simple chord progression on the piano in a natural minor key. Something just feels off when we hear that. So composers will actually raise that 7th scale degree to fix the harmonic progression.
A new empire.
Here's that same progression, but this time I'm going to raise that 7th scale degree when I get to it to create the leading tone. Now remember that in natural minor, we have that lowered 7th scale degree that we also call the subtonic. And when we have a subtonic, now a whole step away from the tonic, we lose that pull of the 7th scale degree up to the tonic. So we raise the 7th scale degree so that we can feel the leading tone again that wants to resolve a half step up to the tonic. When we raise the 7th scale degree in minor, in order to better suit the function of the harmony, this is what's known as harmonic minor, our second type of minor scale or minor mode. So now, if we go back to Duel of the Fates, we remember that we were in E minor. That means that the 7th scale degree is D. So now I'm going to raise that note by a half step so that it becomes D sharp. Now, when I listen to Duel of the Fates, it sounds tense and energetic. It sounds the way we expect it to. And notice that when we do this in a piece of music, it doesn't actually change our key signature. No matter what minor mode we're in, our key signature will still reflect the pitches of the natural minor scale. This way, a performer can still look at a key signature and quickly recognize it. Any alterations beyond that will be made for each individual note using additional accidentals. So let's look at what this means actually for our harmonic minor scale, and this time I want to use B flat minor because that has 5 flats, and we'll see what happens when the 7th scale degree begins with a flat. When compared to the natural minor scale, most of the intervals will be the same. We'd still have the lowered 3rd and 6th when comparing it to major. Additionally, the first 5 intervals would still be whole step, half step, whole step, half step. But now look at what happens when we raise our 7th scale degree. First, by raising the lowered 7th, A flat, we don't sharp it this time, but instead add a natural since that would be a half step higher. Also, we now have the same 7th scale degree as we did when we were in major, but we also create an interval that is 3 half steps apart. Now normally we would refer to an interval with 3 half steps as a minor third, but because we write it as a step here, this will be known as an augmented second, and I'll explain the concept of an interval more in a later video.
A good question. For another time.
From there, we move that final half step up to the tonic that we've been talking so much about. But this augmented second gives the harmonic minor scale a very special and unique sound when we're identifying it. Just listen. I also mentioned in my natural minor video that the force theme is in natural minor, which isn't actually completely true.
Liar!
As Williams finishes the phrase and needs to cadence back to the tonic chord, he will actually raise the 7th scale degree in order to create a fulfilling return that doesn't feel lost. Another great example in Star Wars music is the Old Republic theme from Knights of the Old Republic by Jeremy Soule. In this example, the score is in G minor, which is the relative minor of B flat major. And from the very beginning, we can see that the Fs, or 7th scale degrees, are raised to F sharp, and that they then resolve upward to the tonic each time. So we can see very quickly that the harmonic minor scale becomes an important tool for composers as they're composing in a minor key or mode. And knowing that this possibility exists will help us understand what some of the accidentals in a piece of music are telling us. In fact, one of the first things that I look for when identifying if a piece of music is in minor or not is to see if the raised 7th is present in the music, since it will always be an accidental. And now that we understand harmonic minor, my next video will continue with minor modes and talk about our last type of minor scale for now, which is melodic minor.
I'm looking forward to completing your training.
But let me know if you have any questions about minor modes so far. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to learn more about the music of a galaxy far, far away, and as always, may the be with you.